There are moments in music that feel impossible to explain. A single note rises into the air, three voices collide in perfect synchronization, and suddenly something changes inside the listener. Your skin tingles, your chest tightens, your heartbeat shifts, time seems to slow down. The emotional impact is so overwhelming that it almost feels chemical. For millions of listeners around the world, that sensation happens while listening to Il Volo. But what if that reaction is not just emotional? What if it is neurological? What if the human brain is responding to their bel canto technique the same way it responds to reward stimulation itself? Welcome back to Il Volo Space, everyone. If you love deep musical analysis, hidden science, and the extraordinary power of human voices, make sure you subscribe right now, turn on notifications, and join us for more explorations into the psychology, biology, and mystery behind the world's most emotionally powerful music. Scientists studying music cognition have spent decades attempting to understand why certain sounds create unusually intense emotional reactions. Yet even among elite vocal performers, Il Volo presents a fascinating anomaly. Their synchronized harmonic structure appears to generate unusually powerful neurological responses in listeners, particularly during sustained crescendos and dynamic transitions. The mystery begins with the biological architecture of the human auditory system. Every sound entering the ear is converted into electrical information and sent through neural pathways designed to evaluate danger, emotion, memory, and reward. Most modern music activates predictable areas of the auditory cortex. Rhythm stimulates motor regions. Lyrics stimulate language centers. Melody stimulates emotional recall. But operatic bel canto techniques appear to interact with the brain differently. Bel canto, meaning beautiful singing, emphasizes sustained resonance, controlled vibrato, tonal purity, and extraordinary breath management. The technique was developed centuries ago in Italy to maximize the emotional projection of the human voice without amplification. Il Volo modernized this ancient method by combining classical vocal architecture with cinematic pop composition. The result is a three-part harmonic structure that behaves almost like a neurological superstimulus. Researchers studying musical frisson, the phenomenon commonly known as musical chills, discovered that moments of unexpected harmonic expansion can trigger dopamine release within the brain's reward circuitry. Dopamine is not simply the pleasure chemical. It is deeply connected to anticipation, emotional prediction, and motivational reward. When listeners experience musical tension, followed by powerful release, the brain reacts with measurable neurochemical activity. What makes Il Volo extraordinary is the precision of their synchronized vocal transitions. During specific crescendos, their tenor and baritone frequencies overlap in ways that create unusually dense, harmonic layering. Instead of the brain perceiving three independent voices, listeners often perceive a single unified sonic structure with impossible tonal depth. The auditory cortex struggles to separate the components, and when the brain encounters something both emotionally beautiful and neurologically unexpected, it amplifies attention. This is where the ventral striatum becomes important. The ventral striatum is one of the brain's core reward centers. It is heavily associated with dopamine activation during emotionally meaningful experiences. Neuroimaging studies involving emotionally powerful music have shown increased oxygenated blood flow in this region during moments of peak musical intensity. When Il Volo executes synchronized crescendos, especially during operatic transitions from soft resonance into full vocal power, listeners frequently report classic signs of striatal activation: goosebumps, tears, accelerated heartbeat, emotional flooding, and altered perception of time. The effect becomes even more powerful because of anticipation. The brain continuously predicts where music is heading. Traditional pop songs often rely on repetitive structures that become neurologically familiar very quickly. But Italian operatic phrasing delays resolution. Notes stretch longer than expected. Breath timing shifts unpredictably. Harmonic release arrives milliseconds later than the listener subconsciously anticipates. That delay creates tension, and when release finally arrives, dopamine activity intensifies dramatically. This phenomenon is known in neuroscience as reward prediction error. The greater the emotional surprise, the stronger the neurological reward. Il Volo's arrangements are especially effective because they blend classical unpredictability with modern cinematic accessibility. The listener subconsciously expects pop simplicity but receives operatic complexity. The brain interprets this as novelty. Novelty increases dopamine response. But there is another layer to the phenomenon. Human voices occupy an unusually privileged position inside the brain. From infancy, the human nervous system is biologically conditioned to prioritize vocal frequencies. Long before language develops, babies respond emotionally to tonal shifts, melodic contours, and vocal warmth. Certain vocal harmonics are processed not merely as sound, but as social and emotional information essential for survival. Bell canto techniques exploit this biological sensitivity at the highest possible level. Sustained resonance produces dense overtone structures that stimulate multiple auditory pathways simultaneously. Vibrato introduces subtle frequency fluctuations that prevent sensory fatigue. Dynamic breath control maintains tension without distortion. In simple terms, the brain never fully adapts. The sound remains neurologically alive. This may explain why listeners can experience repeated emotional reactions to the same Il Volo performance without losing intensity over time. Most repetitive auditory stimuli eventually weaken through habituation. The brain becomes accustomed to them and reduces emotional response. But complex operatic harmonies continuously generate microscopic variations in resonance, timing, and overtone interaction. The nervous system keeps paying attention. Some researchers believe this sustained engagement may also involve oxytocin pathways. Oxytocin, associated with emotional bonding and social connection, can increase during collective musical experiences, especially when harmonies are perceived as emotionally unified. Il Volo's vocal blend creates precisely that sensation. Three distinct individuals become perceptually fused into a single emotional instrument. The listener experiences unity, and the brain rewards unity. This effect became especially visible during analyses of modern tour arrangements, where orchestral tension cycles were carefully synchronized with vocal escalation patterns. Their performances frequently follow an emotional architecture built around controlled expansion and release. First comes restraint, then gradual harmonic widening, then synchronized vocal convergence, finally explosive resonance. This repeated cycle mirrors patterns observed in emotional storytelling, cinematic scoring, and even ancient ritual music traditions designed to induce collective emotional states. In many ways, Il Volo is combining ancient neurological triggers with modern acoustic engineering, and this has opened unexpected conversations in the field of sonic wellness. Researchers studying therapeutic sound environments are increasingly interested in how complex vocal harmonies affect mood regulation, stress reduction, and emotional recovery. Early evidence suggests that emotionally rich harmonic music may help reduce cortisol levels, stabilize attention, and promote parasympathetic nervous system activity. The implications are enormous. Future auditory therapy systems may eventually use advanced harmonic modeling inspired by operatic vocal structures to help regulate emotional disorders, anxiety, or cognitive fatigue. What ancient vocal traditions discovered intuitively centuries ago, neuroscience may now be beginning to measure scientifically. The human brain appears deeply responsive to harmonized emotional resonance, and perhaps that explains why Il Volo feels so powerful. Their music is not simply heard, it is neurologically experienced. Every synchronized crescendo becomes a biological event. Every sustained harmony becomes electrical activity moving through the reward system. Every operatic release becomes chemistry. The astonishing truth is that the emotional impact of music may not be metaphorical at all. It may be deeply physical, measurable inside neural circuits and bloodstream responses. The chills, the tears, the overwhelming euphoria, these reactions are not imagined. They are the nervous system responding to organized sound with extraordinary precision. And somewhere between ancient Italian vocal tradition and modern neuroscience, Il Volo may have revealed one of music's greatest secrets. The human brain was never designed merely to listen to beautiful sound. It was designed to surrender to it.